Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing a cooking video, and I'm sure a lot of you, if you've been watching my channel, are not used to seeing me like this. But let's be honest, who gets really glammed up just to cook dinner? Because that's all I'm doing today. I did not get glammed up today, I did not put on my makeup, and I just didn't feel like it would be appropriate for me to go put on a whole bunch of makeup and do my hair to cook. So, welcome to the most natural me you guys will ever see. So today I'm going to be doing a recipe from plated.com, and this is this is HelloFresh. Sorry, I'm going to be doing a recipe from HelloFresh.com, which is a subscription that sends you recipes and all the groceries you need, well, pretty much. And I'm going to be doing one of their recipes, and it's called Seared Steak with pepperonata and cannellini bean mash. But I'm also going to be doing a side dish because this has a very Italian tone to it. I'm also going to be doing a side dish of eggplant, tomato, and garlic. And I'm going to cook up the eggplant. I'm going to leave the tomato fresh and cool, and I'm probably going to put it over a spring mix, or I might just leave it the way it is, drizzled with olive oil. I haven't decided yet, but we shall see. So the ingredients, if you'd like to cook this at home, all you're going to need is 1 12-ounce tri-tip steak, and they sent me one from Plated, from HelloFresh rather, so I have my steak ready to go. You'll also need 1 onion. They sent a white onion, so just a regular white onion. 1 red bell pepper. This looks like maybe a medium. Doesn't look like a large. To me, this is a medium, red bell pepper. You're also going to need 2 cloves of garlic. I have 2 cloves of garlic here. 1 sprig of oregano. I have one right here. You probably just can use the shaker kind, which I just had in front of me, and now I can't seem to find it. It was literally right here. Anyway, you could probably use dried oregano. It's probably not a big deal. 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. I'm going to be using Grey Poupon. And then also 1 can of cannellini beans. I have them right here. Cannellini beans. They sent me a can of Goya, so that's a known brand. And you're also going to need 2 tablespoons of olive oil, which they didn't send, but I have regular olive oil here. And for my eggplant dish, which is my side dish, not part of HelloFresh, I have a medium-sized purple eggplant that I just washed up. I have just a regular red tomato, although I'm sure you can use baby tomatoes, grape tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. Really, I'm not too specific on this. This is just one of those little side dishes that I want to incorporate just a little bit more into the meal. So, the first thing we gotta do with this is we preheat the oven to 450 degrees, and I have the oven preheated to 450 degrees as per the directions. So that's been going for a while because you want to give it time to really get up to the degrees that you need it to be. Now, according to these little directions, I love Plated because they give you picture directions. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to finely chop your oregano, or if you have the powdery kind, just have that sitting there on the counter. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to chop up the garlic as well, peel in half, and thinly slice the onions. So you want to have thin slices of this. They mean cut in half, and then have those little half moon slices. And then you're supposed to seed and destem the red bell pepper. Cut the veins out inside, those little weird things inside, and then cut it into strips. So everything's going to be really strippy. Think like peppers and onions. And then you're going to drain and rinse the cannellini beans, and you're going to have that sitting on the side. So I'm going to get everything chopped up, and then I'm going to come right back. So I have the peppers and the onions cut up. As you can see here, I've got the peppers in thin slices, and I also have the onions in the little half moons. It's the whole onion. Now I'm going to take the peppers and the onion. Oh, by the way, I've also sliced up the eggplant. I'm horrible at slicing eggplant, apparently. So they're not fancy smancy slices. So they're not as pretty. You know, I'm human. They're not that pretty. But everything is sliced up. The only thing I have not sliced up is the steak and the tomato. Also, for my little salad that I'm creating on the side, I cut up into thin slices 2 cloves of garlic, in addition to the 2 cloves I showed you before. So in total, 4 cloves of garlic. Now I'm going to take the onions and the pepper, and I'm going to put them in a frying pan with 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and I'm going to heat that for about 10 minutes. I'm also going to season it with salt and pepper, and you want them to still have a little bit of crunch to them, but also still be soft enough that you know they're cooked. So I'm going to do that now, and then after that we're going to focus on the steak and the eggplant appetizer. So I have my peppers and my onions sizzling away, and I'm going to toss them now gently to coat all of the peppers and the onions in the oil, because you don't want just the bottom to burn. So I'm going to toss that up and let that simmer on the stove on a medium heat for about 10 minutes. While the pepper and onions are on the stove, I'm going to put this little casserole dish. It's actually a Pyrex dish. baking casserole thing, Pyrex. I put all my wonky slices of the eggplant. I drizzled a little bit of olive oil, as you can see, and I just sprinkled my garlic on top. This is going to really infuse the flavor, and I also added some sea salt, and I'm going to pop this in the oven for about a half hour. As you can see, the peppers and the onions are starting to get a little soft. The onions are starting to get a little translucent. The peppers are becoming like a brighter shade of red. That's when you know like your peppers and your onions are almost done cooking. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to sear our steak, but don't take your peppers and your onions off of the stove. After the 10 minutes has elapsed, or if you feel like they're done before that, leave your frying pan on the stove, on the burner it was on. You still want to let it stay on there, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to sear our steak. So in a separate frying pan, what you're going to do is you're going to put about you can put a tablespoon of oil. Usually when I sear, I put less than that. This suggests a tablespoon. I'm going to put about a teaspoon of oil. What you're going to do is you're going to wait for the oil to get really, really hot, kind of like bubbling. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your meat on it when it's its hottest. You're going to sear one side, flip it over, sear the other side. And then you're going to put your steak into the oven to finish cooking, because you're going to allow it to get really like almost crispy on the outside. And then by roasting it, you really allow it to kind of just cook in its juices, and it allows it to not become dry, because sometimes when you cook a steak on the stove, it can become very dry. So that's what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what the oil is going to look like when it's ready to be seared. After we're done with the steak, I'm going to show you what we're going to do with the peppers, and it involves the Dijon mustard. If you see that little bit of bubbling and you hear that little bit of crackling, you're going to want to put your steak on it, but stand back because it might, the oil might hit up and burn you, so be very careful. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Then you let that sear. I'm going to fix that steak once I put the camera down. You let that sear on each side for maybe a minute. Actually, for steak this thick, you might want to do 2 to 3 minutes per side before you put it in the oven. While your steak is searing, you can add 1 tablespoon of the Dijon mustard, and you're going to also want to add 1 tablespoon of water. And you're going to want to just stir that up. I flipped the steaks over, and as you can see, they have that little bit of seared on them. That's what you want it to look like. So now I'm doing the other side for another 2 to 3 minutes. If you think that Dijon mustard sounds a little bit gross compared with steak, it's actually a very common pairing, and you can actually take steak and put a little bit of Dijon mustard on top of it and just bake it in the oven and have a mustard glazed steak. It's actually really great if you've never tried it before. I've salted the steaks, and as you can see, they're sitting a little bit, the blood is coming out of the inside, and you're going to want to put these in the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes, and they're really just going to cook in their juices. They're really going to be really juicy inside. Put sea salt on them. Now you're probably wondering what's going on with these cannelli beans. Well, like most Italian dishes, they include pasta, but if you're trying to eat a low-carb diet, which I am, I always try to restrict my carbs, you can replace your typical pasta or your rice or what have you with beans. I've actually made a recipe in the past where you take shrimp, and instead of putting it over pasta with marinara sauce, you can make a garlicky marinara sauce. It's very similar, very thick, with roasted red peppers. And instead of serving it over pasta, etc., you serve it over cannelli beans, and it actually is really satisfying. Gives you that whole like penne pasta kind of feeling in your mouth, but you're saving carbs and you're adding protein, so that's really great if you are trying to save carbs. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be mashing the cannelli beans with a fork. I'm going to do it right here on the cutting board, which is like covered in like onions and stuff. Probably sweep that over first. And then I'm going to put those after you smash up your cannelli beans. You're going to want to take that same pan that you cooked your steak in, the one that has all the flavor of the steak in it. You're going to put your cannelli beans in that same frying pan or whatever it is you used. And you're going to add your garlic that you've already chopped up, your oregano that you've already chopped up, and you're going to cook that with a little bit of water. I forgot how much water you're going to add in. 1 tablespoon or 1 to 2 tablespoons of water you're going to add to it. And you're going to cook that for about 30 seconds. Yeah, for about 30 seconds until you have like a nice mash, until it's nice and warmed up, and until it becomes fragrant. So I'm going to get mashing these beans now, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when it goes into the frying pan. So I have a big old pile of mashed cannelli beans. And now this is all going to go into the frying pan with the garlic and the oregano and the 2 tablespoons of water. So I'm going to show you that in a second. It almost reminds me of like mashed potatoes or polenta. Maybe that's what it's supposed to be instead of like being reminiscent of a pasta dish. It's supposed to be a healthier alternative to just white potatoes, which is typical like steak and potatoes. But either way, I'm going to let this cook for about 30 seconds, probably a minute, because it's been on here for about 20 seconds and it's not heated up yet. So I'm going to give it a minute. And while I wait for the steak to just finish up along with the eggplant, I'm going to cut up this tomato into nice thin slices and get it ready to put over the spring mix salad. And then we're going to plate everything. So I've already plated the steak. First I started with the cannelli bean mash, then I added the peppers and the onions, and I put the steak right on top so all the juices just come right down from it. And now I'm going to do the little salad. I have some spring mix in my hand. I'm just going to take a nice little handful. Okay, a little bit too much. Right there, right next to it. And then I'm going to add a few slices of tomato, maybe 2 or 3. There we go, so you can see. 2 or 3 slices of tomato. And then I'm also going to include some of the roasted eggplant. It's a little roasted, but it definitely smells great, I can tell you that. And I'll put a little bit of that right on top. It's going to be a lot of leftovers of the eggplant. And then I'm going to sprinkle over it a little bit of olive oil, which is over here. Just a tiny drop of olive oil over it. And some sea salt. So then we have baked eggplant, tomatoes, spring salad, cannelli beans, peppers, onions, and steak. You'll see a picture of this on Instagram because I don't want everything to fall off. But we have a pretty healthy alternative to what I thought was steak and pasta. A healthy alternative to steak and pasta with lots and lots of vegetables. We have the tomatoes as a fruit, and we still have a really nice portion of meat. So let me know what you guys think. If you try cooking this at home and you're on Instagram, please tag me. I'd love to see it. Let me know if you like this recipe. I'm sorry if the quality isn't so great, but I do appreciate you watching. Thank you so much, and please follow me on Instagram. I'm Recycled Stardust.